Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 21st April 2021. In this video, we'll be looking at this couple of issues. This article titled A Low Carbon Future Through Sector-Led Change. This article is taken from the Hindu and it is about how we have to move towards a net zero carbon economy. Now, we have discussed this concept of net zero carbon economy quite a few times, but those who are listening this for the first time, let me reiterate what this is all about. So we are in an economic model which uses fossil fuels to burn them and create energy for economic activity. This model of economic development has increased the greenhouse gases in our atmosphere and has led to what we know today as climate change. In order to reduce the impact of this climate change, we have to move towards a post-carbon economy where there is no extra emissions of greenhouse gases, or at least a net zero carbon economy where all the greenhouse gases which are released into the environment are reabsorbed. But what is the need for doing all this? For this, we have to look at the IPCC reports which say that unless and until we contain the temperature range between 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius as envisaged in the Paris climate deal, we would be heading towards a climatic disaster. COVID would seem like a very small crisis in front of this climatic disaster. So how do we go about this is the question. And to answer this, a lot of economies, say European Union, China, have announced that they are moving towards a carbon neutral economy or net zero carbon economy. So what should India do? There are two sides to this argument. On one side, we say that we should go towards the net zero carbon economy. Others argue that we are not yet in a position to even dream about a net zero carbon economy. The reason is the proponents who are suggesting that we should move towards this net zero carbon economy are the developed countries like US, where they have already burnt all the fossil fuels. The coal has been utilized properly, and they have built enough resilience in their economy. Even if we move towards renewable energy, they have the investments to be invested in renewable energy. On the other hand, India, despite having large states where poverty is very rampant like Jharkhand, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, etc., we are still encouraging solar power, yet there is a lot of untapped potential with respect to fossil fuels like coal. And since we are in a phase of demographic bulge where a significant chunk of our population that resides between 15 to 55 years is depending on economic resources and economic activity for improving the quality of life. For that, the traditional model of coal utilization would be indispensable. In between these debates, it is very clear that whether India can afford to move towards it or not, what is definitely needed across the world is reducing the greenhouse gas emissions. In order to achieve this objective, we might not move towards a net zero carbon economy, but we can definitely reduce the greenhouse gas emissions in our economic system. So what should we do is the focus of this article. For this, instead of giving a generalized answer, this article dissects various options available to India. First one is, it focuses on power sector. What is the reason behind this? Most of the pollution occurs from coal burning, and in India, nearly 60% of the power that is produced is from thermal power plants which use the steam produced from burning of coal. So how do we decarbonize this power sector is the first question. Given the fact that nearly 60% to 75% of the power in some areas is actually sourced from the burning of coal, it is very difficult to make a transition towards this net zero carbon economy. But if we have to really encourage renewable energy, we have to understand the supply chain of coal. There are certain areas in our economy where coal remains indispensable. Now, each and every section of this entire supply chain must be clearly understood and act in such a way that alternatives for coal are encouraged at this juncture. So that is the only way we can move towards a post carbon economy. The second thing is, even today there is indiscriminate burning of coal, citing the fact that we are in a stage of demographic bulge. But that does not mean it will contain the effects it will produce due to climate change. So we have to sort of put a ceiling to how much coal we can use for burning, so that we can generate sustainable thermal energy or thermal based power. The third aspect that we can focus on is energy efficiency or energy services. Say, let us take for an example, you have an AC. There are various ratings to this AC. There are 3-star ratings, there are 5-star ratings. These star ratings, the difference in this will actually make the difference in the price of the product. So, but the problem here is a lot of people buy 3-star products without having an awareness that this 5-star will actually save money for them in the longer run. This requires one, awareness about star labeling, and two, it requires awareness to actually mainstream this 5-star energy services. So energy labeling along with energy efficiency services should be mainstreamed and accessible to even common public. Only then energy efficiency shall increase. Now after all this, there is a need for the fourth dimension, which is having clear-cut timelines and deadlines to achieve these targets. Unless and until there is proper planning, we cannot move towards this objective of net zero emissions. Today, when we are talking about renewable energy, we can achieve scale whenever we think on a global level. So considering this fact, organizations like International Solar Alliance will definitely help India's cause. So tapping into the potential of that kind of organizations at a global level, India must move towards a economic model which relies more on renewable energy than thermal power. In the short run, it would be nearly impossible to say that we have to completely get coal out of our way. That is not possible. Even government's intention is very clear after it carried out certain coal sector reforms and liberalized coal exploitation, and this makes it clear that we are still looking at coal as one of our source of power as well as employment. So this is the sector-led change that we are talking about, and this is the gist of the article. Tackling vaccine hesitancy. What do you understand by vaccine hesitancy? If you can see in the times of COVID, especially in the rural areas and sometimes even in the educated masses, the idea of vaccine is not really clear. Some believe that it is sort of a medication, while some think that there is something wrong with the way vaccines are being administered, because they have been given clearances even before the phase 3 trials. So in this context, how shall we address this vaccine hesitancy amongst people who are refusing to take these vaccines? In fact, this phenomenon of vaccine hesitancy is not unique just for India. It is the case elsewhere as well. In countries like Ireland, there have been movements initially to completely deny the even existence of COVID. That same phenomenon was observed in advanced economies like US as well in the initial days of COVID. So after that, there was severe misinformation about the usage of mask and how it will affect the health of the individual. After that, there have been instances where people who were asked to wear masks were insulting the individuals or the officers who asked them to do so. This is not the case in India itself. We have people who deny the seriousness of the situation to a large possible extent. So the central aspect to this is the misinformation campaign, the need to handle this misinformation. Sometimes they even masquerade as proper journals, and people believe this misinformation because they sound very authentic. So what happens here is people become vulnerable, there have been campaigns to address this vaccine hesitancy even in the past. So we have to understand this vaccine hesitancy as a concept which stems not just from misinformation but also from fear. The most important thing that we can do here is use and leverage the same social media digital age that we are living in to spread the message that vaccines are safe. So for this to happen, people from all quarters of life, despite their political differences, should come together on a platform and address the issue. Because in our country, we know that there are different political opinions, and likewise, there are different people who have different opinions. So, if there is unity in political circles about the need for administering this vaccine, there will be a lot of acceptance from people as well. That is the gist of this article.